The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Retired security officer goes missing after checking outdoor drain. The TNT Police Service Air Support Unit joined the search yesterday for retired security officer Orville Richards, who has been missing since last Sunday. Worried relatives are baffled as to what happened to Richards, who vanished without a trace after stepping out of his house to check a drain near his home at Pinal Quanum Road, Mendez Village, Siparia. The father of three, who lives with his common-law wife, retired from the MTS in March. Richard, 60, was attached to the judiciary and was a familiar face in and around the courts in Siparia and San Fernando. His niece, Melina Mendoza Rodney, said he recently dug a drain meters away from his house. She said his wife told her that around 1 p.m. on Sunday, he went to check the drain to ensure that it was not caving in. He was wearing a pair of black three-quarter pants and a white t-shirt. She said that 10 to 15 minutes passed and he not coming back. She started to think where Richard gone, like he gone for mango because it have a mango tree to the back of the house. She walked out. She did not see him. Richard's wife then alerted his sister, who lives opposite his home. She said they became very worried because he would not usually wander off. They alerted everybody as it is not normal. He don't walk to go nowhere. He have a car and he have a van. So anytime he go anywhere, he will drive and go, Mendoza Rodney said. She said they began searching for him on Sunday and got in touch with a hunter search and rescue team led by Valence Rabharat, who has been searching for him since Monday. They're here right now and we have the air support unit from the TTPS, but so far nothing, Mendoza Rodney said. She said his disappearance is strange, as he has no enemies or animosity with anyone. We ask everybody, all the neighbors. Nobody saw him, nothing, she added. Moruga farmer missing. Couple erased hours after being questioned about his disappearance. Desperate for help, one family has taken to social media to plead for the public's assistance to find a missing 31-year-old man of Douglas Trace, St. Mary's Village, Moruga. Sanjay Deodath, also known as Naren, was last seen at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. At the time, he was driving his Isuzu truck carrying the number plate TDX 6388. Deodath was reportedly wearing a black t-shirt, blue jean shorts, and black Nike slippers while driving in the area. According to his mom, he originally resided in Bastir, Moruga, and has been a farmer for the past 14 years. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is urged to contact his family at 267-4736. Individuals can also call the police at 999 or 800-TIPS. On Wednesday, a Moruga couple was erased hours after being interviewed by police in connection with his disappearance. Security guards wounded by unknown assailants. 2 female security guards were SHOT on Monday night in Freeport. The guards were on duty at a business along Lacusa Road when they observed 2 men walking along the roadway. The men, upon seeing the guards, called out to them. The guards then heard several explosions. The suspects then fled the scene. One guard was grazed on her buttocks while the other was SHOT in her left leg. The injured woman raised an alarm and the police and paramedics were notified. They were taken to hospital for medical treatment. Their conditions are not said to be life-threatening. A team of officers from the Central Division responded and are continuing inquiries. Moruga couple erased in their home by unknown assailants. The homicide of a couple at their home yesterday afternoon has rocked the community of St. Mary's Village in Moruga. The victims have been identified as 35-year-old Sarita Aruna Deosaran and 44-year-old Nigel Nayo Chance. Police said the couple was downstairs in the kitchen around 4:40 p.m. when a white 80 wagon drove into the yard and several explosions were heard. Deosaran's father, who lives next door, ran to the couple's home after hearing the explosions and saw them bleeding from gunshot wounds. Fortunately, Deosaran's 8-year-old son was not at home. Police said that 3 months ago, Deosaran had survived a hit on her life and was partially paralyzed and using a wheelchair. Deosaran had spent several weeks in the San Fernando General Hospital and was discharged about 2 weeks ago. At the scene, relatives including Joan Chance, the sister of Nigel Chance, wept. "My brother was an innocent man. He has never been involved in any crimes. I cannot understand why they erased him." In the incident 3 months ago, on March 22, when Deosaran had survived a hit on her life, she was driving her grey Jeep north along the Moruga Road, St. Mary's Village, around 10:30 p.m., when the occupants of a white 80 wagon opened fire on her. Deosaran's vehicle collided with a coconut tree, and an assailant alighted from the 80 wagon, approached Deosaran's vehicle and opened fire on her. The assailant then got back into the 80 wagon and escaped. When Inspector Santana, Sergeant Ishmael, and officers of the ERP arrived on the scene, they discovered Deosaran in her Jeep with a wound to her neck. They also found a loaded Glock 17 pistol on the floor near the driver's seat. Deosaran previously lived abroad and was employed to a prosthetic company. Sources allege that there was a gang WAR brewing and indicated that Deosaran may be involved. It is also alleged that this homicide and the report of a missing man in St. Mary's Village in Moruga may be linked, since the individual is allegedly part of the same gang as Deosaran. Police said Deosaran, also known as Warrior Princess, had a firearm conviction. Up to late Wednesday evening, police were still at the scene and had not ascertained a motive for the homicide. Trinidad National found dead in Hammock in West Coast Berbice. The lifeless body of a 28-year-old laborer was found lying in a hammock at his bush lot West Coast Berbice home on Monday. Dead is Alan Podmore, also known as Jockey Boy, a father of a 4-year-old son. Police stated that at the time of the discovery, a piece of cloth was found wrapped around the man's neck. Reports are that on Sunday, at around 8 a.m., the man left for work as per usual. However, the man's wife told investigators that around 9 a.m., she spoke with her husband via WhatsApp video chat. At around 2:30 p.m. the same day, after the man did not return home, the woman said she retired to bed, but when she awoke the next morning, she found his body in the hammock. Police were immediately contacted and visited the scene where the man's body was examined and an impression was seen under his neck, suspected to be caused by the piece of hammock cloth. Further investigations are ongoing. Mother makes desperate plea for help from T&T government after son's suspicious death in Guyana. Please allow me to highlight an issue that is causing me a lot of pain and distress as a mother. On the 13th of June 2022, my family received a text message that my son had passed away. My son is Alan Podmore, and he had been working in Guyana for the past few years as a racehorse jockey. He met a Guyanese woman and together they have a 4-year-old son. However, the relationship was not going well, and Alan told me he was coming home to Trinidad on the 28th of this month. After calling around and gathering information from social media, I learned that Alan was found dead lying in a hammock, and it was speculated that he had taken his own life. My family contacted an officer in Guyana named Commander Simon at the East Banks police station in order to get some clarity on what had happened to Alan. The officer said that he would contact us after the post-mortem on June 15. On the same day, after not hearing from the officer, I called him myself, and the information he gave me was that the pathologist told him it was death by hanging. The body would be released to the wife, and he did not ask the time of death. Up to this time, I have not seen the official autopsy result of my son. There are some things about the situation that are confusing in every way. Firstly, Alan was found lying in an almost crouched position in that hammock, not hanging from any rope or line. There were no visible marks around his neck. Why would my son take his own life when he had already planned to come home? Alan is a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, and I am begging our authorities to please investigate the truth of what happened to him. The reason for the urgency is that the funeral is already planned to take place on Sunday, the 19th of June 2022. We have been trying to liaise with the mother of Alan's child so that we may be allowed to bring Alan home for burial, but we are being blocked at every step. My daughter has already visited immigration to obtain an emergency passport to travel to Guyana for the funeral, but the wife has said that she cannot wait for us to get there. Why the rush? What are they trying to cover up? We have offered to pay for the extra cost to the funeral home, but the offer was refused. We begged her to have the services in Guyana, and then we will pay to bring his body for burial, but this was refused. We asked for the ashes after cremation, but this was also refused. We offered to pay for her and my grandson to come to Trinidad for the funeral, and at any time she would like to stay with the family, but this too was refused. She keeps saying that her father has to make the decisions. How can this be? I am the mother of this young man. His father passed away, and I am the one who raised him. We keep getting excuse after excuse, lie after lie, and our hands are tied at this time. Please help us. We have a large and very close family who are heartbroken over Alan's passing. He was so wonderful. I am a mother whose son is gone. I want to have the answers not only the authorities can give me. I want to see my son one last time. I want to lay him to rest in his country, in his hometown. He is a Trinidadian, not a Guyanese. If they bury him there, his spot will fade away, and he will soon be forgotten. Help me keep him close to the loved ones who will keep his memory alive. I love my son. Please, someone help me bring him home. Police launch investigation into suspicious death of Trinidad National Alan Podmore. Alan Podmore, 28, called Jockey Boy, a laborer of Armadale Village, Bushlot, West Coast Berbice, was found dead in a hammock at his residence with a piece of hammock's cloth enfolded around his neck on Monday. According to police headquarters, inquiries disclosed that Podmore resided with his reputed wife, 4-year-old son, and his father-in-law. According to Alan's wife, he had left for work on June 12, 2022 at about 8 a.m. The woman said she last spoke to the now deceased man at about 9 a.m. on the said day via video chat. The woman further told detectives that after he had not returned home at about 8:30 p.m., she retired to bed with her son. That about 8 o'clock on Monday morning, she awoke to find Podmore lying motionless in the hammock under the shed with a piece of the hammock's cloth around his neck. Police were informed and subsequently visited the scene where the man's body was examined. and an impression was seen under his neck, suspected to be caused by the piece of hammock cloth. No other marks of violence were seen on the exposed parts of the man's body. Police swabbed his hands and nail clippings were taken for DNA purposes. The body was escorted to Fort Wellington Hospital, where an official pronouncement of death was given. The body is currently at the Bailey Funeral Home awaiting a post-mortem examination as investigations continue. In my opinion, it's obvious that foul play was involved in this case. The method by Hammock would be very difficult to maneuver, and also quite unlikely that anyone would choose such a difficult method to end their life. Popular radio DJ charged with domestic violence. Charges have been laid against a popular radio personality who has made headlines in relation to a domestic violence matter involving his wife Alana Mansoor. Randy, Mr. Smooth Mansoor, 37, of Toko Main Road, Sangre Grande, has been the host of Make Up or Break Up for several years. The late-night program is featured on Boom Champions 94.1 FM. Mansoor was charged on Tuesday with common assault, CHOKING, with intent to render unconscious, and assault by BEATING. This was confirmed by the Corporate Communications Unit of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. The host, known for giving relationship advice on air, was granted bail in the sum of $80,000 with surety by Justice of the Peace Carl Datu on the same day. According to a police report, at around 9:30 p.m. on February 14, a woman was at home when her husband arrived. They allegedly got into an argument during which the woman claimed she was CHOKED, while a KNIFE was placed to her face and THREATS made against her life. An investigation was launched by officers of the Special Victims Department in the Eastern Division, and Mansoor was later arrested. Posts shared across its social media pages on June 9, Boom Champions condemned all acts of violence, including domestic abuse. It went on to acknowledge that a couple of staff members were under investigation. 3 days prior, Mansoor shared a statement from his attorneys denying any allegations against him. He also THREATENED to take action over a post shared on Facebook accusing him of domestic violence.
This program contains material of a disturbing nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
MonkeyPox alert. Ministry of Health preparations underway. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasram has noted that monkeypox cases are on the rise globally. However, this country is in full preparation mode in anticipation of its spread. Speaking at the Ministry of Health's virtual media conference yesterday, Dr. Parasram said affected countries now stand at 39 to 32, of which are non-endemic and 7 endemic, an increase of 10 countries over the last week or so. Dr. Parasram further noted that the World Health Organization, WHO, is seeking to verify reports of a monkeypox-related death in Brazil and is also expected to change the name of the virus sometime in the future. He said an emergency committee is also supposed to meet through the WHO to determine if the monkeypox represents a public health emergency of international concern. He said the findings will be made public if and when it takes place. Asked by a reporter if the declaration is made whether this would change the country's approach to the preparation of the virus, Dr. Parasram noted that a declaration usually represented the first step of notification. We have preempted that part of the step and we consider it a concern, especially now that there is a case that has been confirmed in Venezuela, which is close to us geographically. So we have taken the steps in treating it as a public health emergency of international concern before it was actually deemed that by WHO. The CMO said as a result that preparation began quite a while ago. We've seen with COVID-19 how quickly things have moved from one jurisdiction to the next, so no country has that low risk. WHO has put it at moderate risk of spreading throughout the world in terms of epidemic proportions, already even before having that emergency meeting. With 1,600 confirmed cases and 1,500 suspected cases reported since the beginning of the year across the 39 countries, Dr. Parasram said to date 72 deaths have been recorded internationally. According to the CMO, the Health Ministry is currently focusing on several areas to manage the virus, including a ramped-up port health response via training and isolation policies. He said focus is also being placed on an effective clinical cohort throughout the country to ensure that physicians are well trained to recognize the signs and symptoms of the virus. The public, too, will be educated on this. We're looking at preparing our clinicians to diagnose, to be able to detect it by way of testing. We can send samples to TPHL to the CBC using the CARFA mechanism for now, and CARFA is in the process of building in-country testing facilities. He said when this occurs, both clinicians and the public will be alerted. Dr. Parasram said the ministry is also looking at vaccine acquisition via the PAHO route through the revolving fund. And PAHO is looking at the sources of that vaccine. As soon as they get a source, they will let us know as well and a cost as well as a treatment for the disease. He said the ministry is also working with the manufacturer to see how quickly it can be sourced.